I think we're live. Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Logan from Lucky Trader here alongside Danny Miranda, also, of course, of Lucky Trader and the Danny Miranda podcast. Thank you for tuning in, whether you be coming through YouTube or Twitter tonight to see the Lucky Trader Lounge episode 2, sort of an impromptu show tonight, Danny, just because we had a big announcement here at Lucky Trader today. So wanted to take the time to walk through some of the things that took place and that we announced and give people the opportunity to see it in action and ask some questions. I guess first and foremost, how are you doing on this Wednesday night, my friend?
Doing absolutely wonderful. We got the professional setup. We got the high energy. I did some box breathing just now. I'm ready to roll, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, whatever box breathing is. We do have a higher setup now. I'm in with a good mic, with a nice little scissor arm here. So the real deal, the very real deal, of course, for improved audio, improved video setup, so that from now on, the Lucky Trader Lounge is high quality and is just better received for the audience out there. So for those who have not heard just yet, some exciting news realistically in the last week here for Lucky Trader. We went live with our beta last Tuesday, I believe. We did the Lucky Trader Lounge episode 1 on Thursday. We went live with the beta version, accessible now at luckytrader.com on Tuesday. Of course, you can access all the tools and resources there right now. It is in beta, lots of things being added. And then the big news from today, the reason we wanted to kind of have this podcast and maybe spend some time over the next hour leading into the Know Your Horses Twitch stream, is just to showcase the Lucky Trader Chrome extension, which just launched today, accessible for the entire public. It is something that was only exclusive for a few days to our newsletter audience, to those who had been present for us and taking part in the early beginnings of Lucky Trader, but now accessible for everyone in the Google Chrome web store. Danny, have you had a chance to mess around with the extension yet?
It's so cool. I mean, it's crazy how that's a thing that can be done, and we have the ability to use that and the ability to give that to people. It's a tool that I'm using and telling people, we are a beginner resource with helping people just get on board. But if you are in this for a while and you want a tool to use, this is an advanced tool, I think. I mean, beginners can use it as well, but people who are more advanced will really enjoy this. And I've been having fun with it and just playing around with it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's really, really great. I think it is what you just said. It's for all user types, whether you're brand new or whether you're more experienced. You might take advantage of one or two of the features more than the other. There are three really notable features. I guess we'll get into these in just a moment here, but you might not even know realistically. I think one of the best things about it is you don't even really know that you're interacting with it and that it's kind of enabled. It's like quiet and it's there in the background. It's not one of these really clunky extensions that's going to, take up a lot of your screen share or, be difficult to use. It's like really simple to use and super easy to navigate. So you'll notice that in the, the Cool Cats collection that I'm on right now, you get these little rarity rankings just natively in the bottom left corner of the screen. So something that anyone who is, working on adding to their collection or just wants to really monitor what's available for sale, any of the supported collections on luckytrader.com, if this is a collection that we have an asset explorer for or rarity rankings for, you'll be able to just get this right in, the bottom left asset card right on screen. Again, nothing you need to do, just open the extension, add the extension, and it's here. So it's really great.
Have you used it yet in terms of to make a purchase or to sell anything yet?
I have not used it to. I mean, I've used it quite a bit, like in testing, of course, and like the tutorial videos that you can access on our YouTube channel or via luckytrader.com. In the kind of the article there, there's options for folks to get access to that. If you're wondering, how exactly do I use it? I'm still trying to. I think, and this is something we should think about adding more content about in the near future. Is like I'm still trying to determine exactly what my bid strategy is. Especially, I think it's an important conversation potentially in the near future because we've seen over the last week, maybe a little bit extended, that the market as a whole has seen like a pretty strong, I don't know like the overall dip percentage, but it's seen a pretty strong dip over the course of the last week in the face of like general cryptocurrency booming of sorts. Bitcoin all time high again today. Um, but I think with that being said, with people getting a little impatient, with people seeing prices go down, using bids effectively, to not buy it now, but to like offer something that's like respectable or maybe not even that respectable is going to be a way for people to gain access to like higher value or higher quality NFTs in a way that they maybe didn't realize they could have before. So all that to say that no, I mean, I haven't really used it with any real intention just yet. Meaning that like the bids that I've been putting out there are, purely kind of like me testing around and playing around and just making sure the extension is out in the wild appropriately. But I think in the near future, I'll start to use that a little more intentionally with the hope of like, so again, the floor on Cool Cats, let me scroll up here. The floor on Cool Cats, you can see this at luckytrader.com too, 6.85. And when you get, that's down, what is it, like 13, 14 at one point, like a week and a half ago, something like that. And when you start to see these downturns and people get a little jittery, you could make like a 5 ETH offer and it's maybe accepted, you know what I mean? Or even lower, it could be realistically. And so, yeah, it's something that I just haven't really taken advantage of too much, but I think is realistically something we should look like most collectors, especially if they're looking to add legitimate pieces to their collection. It's things that most collectors should definitely be thinking about doing. Do you
Yeah.
bid? Have you been bidding?
I haven't bid at all, but I'm curious to try it out. But I also, why haven't I bid? Because I don't know a good reason why I haven't. I just haven't gone too deep in that aspect of it. But maybe in the future, maybe if I had a video that said, here's a
Mhm.
bidding strategy that I would enjoy, I would check that out and say, oh, that's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of an alpha leak, and I don't want to give away too much, but there, in terms of like maybe next steps for this particular extension and beyond, like feature wise, I think there are some things that we want to do to help the either the bidder in this instance, so like if I'm looking to bid, like on these cool cats that you see on the screen right now, or the seller on the other end, right? If when you're mass listing, I think we want to be able to give them more information as well, so that you could potentially know like for a particular collection, how frequently are bids being accepted and at what price are
Whoa.
they being accepted? And so, that's not necessarily like strategy, as in, here is how you should bid and like these are the types of bids that are most effective, but it's just more information than they probably have now. And of course, you can like gather that stuff in a little bit more difficult way, utilizing like the transactions page on Lucky Trader, for example, to see where particular attributes are going. And what price, what price range over what period of time are you, looking at a particular set of attributes and how they gone. But yeah, so I think like I tweeted it earlier today, and I've been annoying about the extension because I'm super pumped about it, and we've gotten some really positive feedback thus far. Again, it is free and accessible in the Google Chrome Web Store for anyone to add to their browser and start to mess around with. But yeah, we've gotten plenty of initial positive feedback, and I think that these are things that are going to come. But as I mentioned earlier today, this is minimum viable product. Like this is what we were comfortable putting out so that we expected most people would find a ton of value in this, but I don't think it's going to stay here. It's going to get even better and become even more valuable. So please do take advantage of it now. But of course, if you have feedback, if you have feature requests, please ping them to us. We are, happy to take those recommendations and hopefully put them into practice in the very, very near future. Hopefully. So, yeah. Like we were just talking actually about before the stream. Danny, I know you mentioned you haven't. You're looking for a way maybe to grab another V friend.
Yeah.
So V friends, they do have rarities. It's a little bit different in terms of like when you're comparing rarities because these are kind of tiered out based on like the experience or utility, right? So it's not rarity in the sense that actually are they rare? They're not rarities in the sense of like the actual properties right now. Like these are things, right? You see 0.39% to troll. But that's just because troll is one of the animal types. It's not like this particular piece of metadata is rarer than the other. Basically, the rarity is predetermined in this kind of a group and rarity section. So we do have rarity rankings accessible, but again, those are a little bit different than most of your profile picture projects. This is something that you're mentioning, trying to gain access to another VFriend potentially.
Mhm.
Hopefully you weren't trying to keep that a secret.
It's all
But
good.
you could,
I'm an open book.
yeah, you could use, right. You could use the Lucky Trader extension to like make a mass bid on these. And this is another one where when you consider projects falling in the last few weeks, like VFriends after like the Christie's announcement, or maybe actually right before the Christie's announcement,
20? Was it
something like
18 or
that.
something like that?
Something like that. Let me move this over just a little bit. Yeah. So I mean, like the really awesome thing about this, maybe you want to use the filters to find a particular animal or whatever, right? There's 555 goats, whatever the case may be. Like you can filter on just flies. I just cleared that, but you can filter on just flies and bid on just flies, right? And they have offers out. And OpenSea is done like, so we also at Lucky Trader, not to add too many things because I do want to spend most of my time talking about the extension, but also at Lucky Trader, like we've spent a lot of time trying to educate, and we'll continue to try to educate as best we possibly can. But like there were some beginning of the summer scams on OpenSea in particular, that the currencies when bidding right now, they actually denote which currency with the symbol, and they give you this little floor difference indication that wasn't there present at in the beginning of the year. So you'd have people bidding like obscene amounts, in terms of like very, very low, right? They'd bid like 20 DAI, which this stablecoin currency, and people that weren't thinking or maybe not educated enough would just think that meant 20 Ethereum and accept it, unfortunately.
Damn.
So Lucky Traders, or not Lucky Trader, but OpenSea's come a long way in trying to correct for some of those things. So maybe your lowball bids don't get accepted now, but like I can do this right now. I think I can, I can mass bid. Let me connect here. I can mass bid. Oh, did somebody accept one of my bids earlier? I have no wrapped Ethereum now. I'm wondering if maybe so this is a bad example. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make any bids on the show. I had wrapped Ethereum and I was making bids earlier, and somebody must have accepted one or something.
Live breaking news. Did Logie have an accepted bid?
I don't know. I'm not exactly, or I might have been connected with a different wallet. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty risk averse, so I'll try to avoid signing into a new wallet and potentially making myself liable for any potential issues here on screen. So unfortunately, I won't be bidding on stuff.
What's your secret phrase again? Could you just?
Yeah, right.
That we should note though, for people who are beginning,
Don't tell anyone.
Never share your secret phrase ever. That was a joke I was just making. And if anyone asks, make sure to never enter that anywhere.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is another great piece of education, hopefully for folks that are brand new. Of course, our goal at Lucky Trader, help onboard new people. Like we want to provide tools and resources. The extension is going to be one of those that can give lots of value to all types of holders, but we also want to be able to onboard new people. And I actually just had an experience regarding the recovery phrase last week. I was looking for like a photo on my girlfriend's phone for something, which is maybe a no-no anyway. But I happened to scroll into her camera feed a little bit, and she had like a picture of her recovery phrase. And I was just like, no, delete this. What are you doing? She's, of course, been someone who I've helped onboard to NFTs, has had a little success. Now, of course, follows Lucky Trader, like all of you folks should, to get her NFT information. But yeah, your secret recovery phrase, and MetaMask has even gone so far as to now, like, in their documentation, it is listed as secret recovery phrase and not seed recovery phrase, just to add that little magnification and magnitude raise of like, hey, this is very important. Because when you think about secret, you're hopefully less likely to be sharing that with other people. So definitely don't share it with other people. Definitely keep it offline as well, to the best of your ability. I know like even MetaMask actually uses in their recommendation, like using a password manager is okay. Depending on your risk tolerance, it could be okay for you or not. Like that's definitely more safe than like keeping it in your Dropbox or something. but I try to keep everything offline and in no way attached to my online persona in any way. It's just the most safe that you could possibly be. So yeah, don't share your recovery phrase with anyone. That's definitely good advice, Danny. Thanks for sharing that. But back to the extension. Let me throw the screen back in here. And of course, folks that are joining in, thank you for tuning in. Again, impromptu show to talk a little bit about the announcement from Lucky Trader earlier today. The OpenSea Chrome extension now accessible in the Google Chrome Web Store. Please go ahead and add that to your browser. If you have added it and you found value from it already, again, the feedback thus far has been pretty positive. But if you found value in it, please leave a rating and review on Google. That helps just get it in the eyes of more people. And it helps validate for us that you're finding value and let us give more attention to it as well to potentially add more features and make it even more valuable in the future. But anyway, back to this. I noted that I do not have any wrapped Ethereum to make bids right now, unfortunately. But the other really cool thing is like this mass listing feature, especially if you're someone like me that minted a whole bunch of garbage during this last 6 months, just because up only, right? Everybody's kind of minting everything. The mass list feature is like pretty badass, so now I can just select all these that I want to list. And this is no knock on Ghost Goblins or Goblin Goons, the project.
They look cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I'm still I don't think I've been able to sell any, But the thing about the extension that's like most important in terms of education right now is the extension is working under the premise of kind of like Dutch auction listing. Dutch auction, for those who may not be aware, is unlike the English auction in the sense that instead of starting at a bid number and going up, you actually kind of start at a max number and work your way down over the course of time, and you get to choose that duration. So the way the extension works at present time is you choose what you want to mass list, and then you can come in here and set those. You set your start and your end. And so if I set my start at 10 Ethereum and I set my end at 5 Ethereum, my listing will be active for the duration I select, 24 hours in this instance, from 10 Ethereum to 5 Ethereum, and it'll decrease over that time frame. And the only way that I lose my Ghost Goblin is if someone purchases it in the range of 10 to 5. So if they buy it for 10 or they buy it for 7, whatever, that's fine. Or the 24 hours go by and nobody buys it, which is the more likely scenario in this instance. But it's really freaking awesome, Danny. I mean, like, you can come in here, you set it to whatever you want. And unlike the bidding section, like, you don't need a particular set of Ethereum, right, to do this. You're just kind of creating your parameters for what you'd be willing to set and sell these at. If anyone wants to buy these off me, I will not be mad. We can call it a learning experience and experiment for all those parties involved. But realistically, you just kind of set these, right? Whatever you want. You can use a custom date picker if you want to set it for like, right now it's defaulting to 15 minutes, which I realize is a very small amount of time for potential listing. However, if you want to set it to, like 2022, right, like I can do that. It's just going to very slowly decrease. And I can set that to all for all of them. And then you just hit submit. And you're going to sign a couple transactions. Oh, actually, can you see my MetaMask now or no? I'm not sure what pops up here.
No.
Okay.
Can't see it.
Yeah, good call. So yeah, this is a good example of sharing a window only. Again, second time broadcasting, folks. I promise I will get better at this as we move forward. But one of the other things I should make note of, as it pertains to using the mass list feature, is that there are two different unlocks you need to do to sell on OpenSea. Right? There's that first initialize your wallet, which is like basically unlock your wallet's ability to sell any NFT on OpenSea. So that's a one-time transaction. It does require gas. It's not a super intensive transaction, so it won't be like very, very expensive in terms of gas. Like, you're not going to pay like 0.03 ETH to do it or whatever, but it will require some gas. So that's step one. If you have not done that yet, when you go to do this process, it'll require you to do so. And then the second unlock is for each individual collection. Again, these are non-fungible tokens, right? So these little images are actually backed by a token that sits in your wallet. Kind of that's what you're trading back and forth and buying. For each individual token, you actually need to unlock that and basically approve that that OpenSea, not Lucky Trader, not Lucky Trader, but that OpenSea can basically take that token from your wallet and transfer it to the other individual and give you the Ethereum, or again, wrapped Ethereum or whatever the case may be, that the other person is paying with. So those are two unlocks that you need to do for each collection. Two unlocks total. one that you need to do for each collection. And if you've done so, when you go to do this submit thing, you're good, right? Like you just sign and then you can list those. In this instance, I apparently don't have the unlock set, which is I've been 0 for 2 in terms of examples. I guess I should have been a little better prepared, unfortunately. However, when you go to do this, and let me try ghost goblins. I feel like I have these maybe unlocked. When you go to do this, you need to have both those things done, or you will have to pay the little fees as you do it. That's it. So it's no different than any other time that you list. Nope, it must be ghost goblins that I don't have done. Dag. Bad examples all around. Nevertheless, it's very, very simple. And if you have all those things selected for already, which unfortunately I do not, I should have been prepared. It's a very smooth process.
What's the issue exactly?
I don't have the Ghost Goblins token unlocked for trading.
Gotcha. Is that because it's in your cold storage?
No, it is only because I have not done it yet, basically. So the second step, right? You have to initialize your wallet, and you can learn more actually in the pop-up itself, guys, as you do this on our with our extension. Like in the pop-up itself, we give you docs, the link to the OpenSea docs, so that you can access this on your own really, really easily. Let me try it with just goons. Maybe Ghost Goblins is the problem. Right here. To avoid multiple listing fees, ensure your wallet's initialized and you've approved the tokens you're trying to list. So again, I've initialized my wallet. That's a first step. That's for any NFT. And then each collection, each token, I have to unlock as well for trading. And so the issue that I'm running into right now is I did not take the time to unlock Goblin Goons for trading prior to trying these. Okay, yes, we're good. I'm actually, you can't see my MetaMask pop up, which is probably good anyway. These should be good now. Oh, geez. It's not good yet. This is a me thing, not an extension thing. What a terrible example going. So this is actually the type of error that you would get though, should you not, right? Like we've put things in place here so that you know whether or not you're doing it correctly. And right now I am not doing it correctly. I have not unlocked these tokens for trading. So this is something that I will do off to the side here, and we'll get off this so I can do it off to the side, and then we will share it. We do have a couple questions actually. Thoughts on crypto Rastas? Could it be something that turns popular like punks? I don't know what crypto Rastas are. I've not heard of them. It sounds like crypto Rastas. Could it be something that turns some? I'm guessing it's a profile picture project. Rastas, is that a genre of music? Like what Rasta? Is that like a Jamaican music thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. Unfortunately, Dan, I don't know anything about crypto Rastas. And this is a good time to point out the fact that even in working in NFTs full time, it's impossible to stay on top of every project dropping. We do our best to curate lists of projects that are dropping on Lucky Trader via the schedule, but it's impossible to stay on top of every single thing. With that being said, I think it's really, really unlikely that most all things become as popular as punks. Like less than 0.01% outcome. I don't even know. Danny, do you have a take there on like what does it take? Let's like remove crypto Rastas, right? I don't want to be unfair to any one particular project, but like what is it going to take for a project to become as popular as punks?
I would say incredible cultural relevance in understanding that like celebrities, movies, like it's going to have to be a part of culture in a major way. And I think the bet that many people are placing is that this was the first or the third NFT project, the first avatar style project, I believe. And that is going to be what people are going to want to invest in 10 years or in the future. So for something to get to the level of the first profile picture, it's gonna take a lot. And the fact that Bored Ape has gone so far and as far as they've come is incredible that they've done it in a similar fashion. And obviously they're not at the level of punks, but they are making their way there in some respect.
Yeah. This is it's a great question because it's something that should really be supported in kind of your analysis and evaluation framework for projects and their relevance long term. We spent some time talking last week about like things maintaining relevance over the course of 1 month in NFTs being silly good, because 1 month is like an absurd amount of time for the NFT ecosystem. So I think the biggest thing here, and my best advice. So like, unfortunately, I think it's very very unlikely that crypto Rastas is going to be something as popular as punks. Um,
But hey,
super. I mean, yeah, I mean it could be, but
we
I
don't
think
know what it is.
yeah, super unlikely that crypto Rastas become something like punks. But that's not to say that they can't be, or that other projects won't be either. So I think Danny, what you pointed out about crypto punks always sort of having some sort of edge given their provenance. That word gets thrown around quite a bit. As the kind of like the rookie card of NFTs or of profile picture NFTs, or in the case of punks, like right, ERC 721 and those types of things, the standard for Ethereum contracts. Those types of things are always going to give it some level of, dare I say, safety. Safety is not the right word to use. Safety is definitely not the right word to use. Disclaimer: nothing that we say is financial advice. This is all just educational and for fun. Safety, not the right word to use, but it's always going to give it some level of like relevance and popularity that is going to last or help it last, as opposed to some of the other projects that need to fight an entire wall. Like let's say for example that Crypto Rastas or any other project that's been dropped in the last few weeks has been dropped in the face of declining prices, dropped in the face of maybe stagnation and or what like decreasing demand literally across the market, but also too for like the type of project that's getting dropped. Like for example, you could drop a profile picture project maybe even a month ago and it would mint out like almost for sure. And I'm sure most of the projects that are dropping today like are probably still getting close to minting out as people continue to try to flip. But I've started to see even from more notable collectors or flippers the whole like, okay, it's getting hard now. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't just mint everything and it's going to turn into something. And so it's like we have these new projects facing two huge roadblocks to being super successful. You've got already esteemed projects that have added value to their collector base, like immense value. And so they've not only built brands, like good, solid brands, but they've also added value to collectors. And now you have a whole host of folks that are coming in a time, this projects, I mean, not necessarily participants, but coming in at a time where value is not easy to be added. At least financial value is perhaps not easy to be added because the market conditions are a little choppier. And they have to fight against all those other esteemed projects anyway for consumer mind share. It's tough. Like, let's say, okay, here, I like this theme. So I'm going to ask you, Danny, because you're a great brand builder, of course. Danny Miranda podcast. If you guys have not listened to it, please go ahead and listen to that. And then as well, I should definitely make note, download the Lucky Trader podcast. Danny just had on Jack Butcher of Visualize Value. Jack Butcher, huge name, both in Web3 right now, as well as design and beyond. So please go listen to those. We have other really notable conversations. When's the next one dropping, Danny? Tomorrow?
Next one is dropping tomorrow with JJ Lane.
JJ Lane of Tools of Rock.
Yep.
Tools of Rock / Gods of Rock, another project that is one of these projects. And I'm excited to listen to the conversation with JJ. I don't want to leak too much here because I want people to go download it and listen to it. But this is another project that like faced some adversity, and I'm guessing you guys talked about that. And so I'm interested to hear about that. But I want to go back a little bit. You're a great brand builder. If you were dropping an NFT project tomorrow, and it doesn't need like, let's not label it as like profile picture project or anything, right? But like, if you're dropping an NFT project tomorrow, like what would you be doing for folks to make them realize value? Maybe not financially, right? But like feel comfortable in their holding. And also to like, what would you be doing to help aside from that, right? But like, what would you be doing to help reassure them that you're going to be around? Right. Because those are the things that are also very scary is like there are legitimate rugs. And then there are also projects that like maybe when the downturn happens, this may be happening right this moment. You might have project developers or creators that are like, secondary sales have really slowed. Like, I'm going to move on to
I'm
something
out.
else. So what would you do in those two instances, Danny?
Yeah, I would be communicating one-on-one with as many people who held as possible, whether that be through phone calls, video chats, like videos to the community in general. Depends how big and how many people I'm talking to, but I would make sure that I was connecting with those individuals, especially in this time of where you have a lot of downturn. You need people to trust, and the best way to trust is to communicate with them and talk to them face to face and say, "Hey, look, I'm working on this right now. I have this vision. I'm working on this project. Like I was just in the V Friends Discord, and Gary V is talking about the meetings I have for version 1.5 and version 2 of V Friends is crazy. I'm in meetings all day. That's his way of building connection and trust with the people who are holding his tokens. So that's what I would do. Make sure I was
Yeah.
talking to the holders directly. I think that's what
I
you got to do.
Yeah, I think the other thing there that is maybe within your message is like communicate the stuff that you're doing. Like one actually
Yeah.
in some ways, and there are going to be some potential puns in here, and some of them are intended, others are not. But in some ways, projects in NFT world sort of purposely kept this kind of cryptic veil over their roadmaps. There's the pun, right?
Good one.
And that mystery at a certain time in market dynamics was beneficial because people are like, "Oh shit, what's coming?" Like something's going to happen. And then you started to see kind of like more like announcements of announcements, and you saw announcements of things that were like okay, you're dropping merch, mm, you know. And so I think another thing that right now would be valuable to collector bases is like be forthright about what you're doing, and how you're going to add value, for so many different reasons, right? Like, forget the price of these things, but and I'm actually working on a piece to finally bring. I think Lucky Trader is going to get to house it, but like on being medium board, right? We've talked about the subject before. I think it's going to be good bear market advice for folks. Is like don't lose sight of everything. Right. And so if you're a founder of a project or you're promoting a project or whatever the case may be, however you're attached, if you can just get people to kind of like remember you in some way or another, and if that's through weekly updates in like a clear and concise and transparent manner, that might be all it takes, right? To keep somebody engaged and keep them around long enough to either participate actively or to help get others on board in participating. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear JJ's conversation again on the Lucky Trader podcast dropping tomorrow. Download that in all of the places that you find your podcast. Of course, Danny, the host, and lots of other great conversations. So we've had Tom Bilyeu on. I was on, less notable, Jack Butcher. I know you had conversations, of course, with JJ Lane, but we'll have plenty of others in the very, very near future that folks should definitely go listen to if they enjoy podcasts, NFTs, Lucky Trader, all three of those things. Definitely notable. I do want to hop back real quick, Danny, because I finally found a collection that I have trading on for
Let's go.
NFT boxes. The sad womp womp. If you were someone who participated in this earlier in this year, maybe we'll see a revival. But this was a Pranksy project that it continues to drop. I think this October box is Searlight, who just sold an NFT for 100 ETH, and is the artist behind Capsule House, another project that dropped recently, that's doing, I think, perfectly fine at present time. But if I go back to the extension, again, I'm in my profile. I've unlocked trading for NFT boxes tokens already previously, so I'm not going to have any issues. But if I wanted to list a bunch of these, you just select them all. And you can list across collections. I'm just not going to do so right now, just so that I don't accidentally, hit that error or snag that I was running up against previously. But, you can like mass list all these, right, across collections. Make sure the tokens are approved for trading. I'm just going to set 10 ETH for all. We'll do 10 and 10. 10 and 10 just means no decreasing. That's how you do your buy it now, right? You definitely need to make sure, important point, do not set this to 0 or else your price will actually go to 0. And that unfortunately is something I think the dev working on the project learned maybe once or so, unfortunately. Yeah, whatever you set it to, it's going to decrease to that until somebody else buys it. So I'm going to actually set it to 1. So we're going to go from 10 to 1 over the course of the next 24 hours. If somebody wants to buy any of these, feel free. That would be great. But you just go ahead and hit submit, and then it's going to be, you're just going to sign individual transactions. You can't see it, but my MetaMask has popped up. All I'm doing is signing those individual transactions. And as I get through these, you'll notice you get this little green. Looks like we had one that got throttled because I did so many at once. That's an OpenSea thing, not an us thing. But you'll see that these, right, all now successfully listed for 10 ETH. Like, that's how easy it is. I just listed, 8, 9 NFTs in like 40 seconds.
Incredible.
Huge efficiency gain, like massive efficiency gain, especially if you're somebody that is dealing with hundreds of NFTs. Like, I know people that own thousands of NFTs that, because they minted everything, right? They minted everything over the course of the last year, close to a year now. And so you've got like a year's worth of NFTs, many of which that, with this winter approaching, you want to get out of your portfolio, or maybe you want to harvest some tax losses, right? Also great. Things that people need to seriously consider. And we'll talk a little bit more about taxes as we move along, and we approach tax time. But yeah, it's really that easy. It's super awesome. A huge benefit to especially those, like the listing and the bidding, a little bit more advanced, right? Those are features that you have to have plenty of NFTs in order to take advantage of the mass listing. And you also need to, if you're doing mass bidding, you have to want to potentially add a handful, or I guess it doesn't even need to be a handful, but you need to be willing to add, or it might not matter too much to you. What's going to matter to everyone is going to be the rarity rankings, right? We know how, whether, and you can have a different opinion on this, but whether rarity is valuable to you or not, this is something that the market as a whole finds valuable and is a way that they use to differentiate and prescribe a value to these particular assets. And so you got to pay attention to it in one way or another. And now we're making it so easy for you to pay attention to. Like, it's right on the page. So
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
It's like, I agree with you. Rarity is incredibly important. But what if Kylie Jenner says to herself, like, I'm going to choose the least rare one because I think the least rare one is actually the coolest. Well, then the least rare one becomes more rare because Kylie Jenner set it as her profile picture and she's got a massive audience. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like we could set these rankings, but is anybody setting rankings going to be what actually matters in culture? Maybe not. Right? What's your take on it?
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually, and it reminds me of, I'm going to try to find this tweet now as I chat about it, but it reminds me of a tweet that I was passed earlier today, I believe, or maybe earlier this week, from Gremplin. Of course, Gremplin, notable artist, but perhaps best known for Cryptodes by Gremplin. Cryptodes, a project near and dear to all of our hearts, right? Right? Disclaimer, I own a Cryptode. But yeah, Gremplin, of course, actually just tweeted about this because was getting a lot of, I don't know if it was feedback or questions about rarities in particular as it pertained to the Cryptodes project. And Gremplin actually said, like, hey, here's my take on rarities for the project. And it wasn't like the top rarity one, by the tools. It was like, this is what I think is good. And the rarity rankings were like maybe 7, 100, 30, 900, whatever, right? I'm not going to probably find, looks like Gremplin has tweeted a lot, or maybe it wasn't Gremplin that tweeted it. I don't know. Nevertheless, like, that is really interesting. And the other thing, I saw a tweet earlier today, and this is going to lead me to another conversation that I want to not miss, which is about art. So make sure I don't miss conversation about art, but this is going to lead me there. I saw a conversation earlier today on Twitter about some other things with normies coming. Are they going to care about on chain? Are they going to care about generative art? Right. And I actually wrote in the case for caring, or why you should care, whatever you'd like to title it or call it, on luckytrader.com. I wrote about this earlier this year about the fact that, like, I don't think I care about all on chain. Like, I'm still struggling to put together the conviction about generative art and like why that's valuable. And so, and I'm not everyone, and you shouldn't just apply my thesis or lack thereof to your own, but I'm much closer to the ground than the normies that are coming. And so, how the hell are we going to get them to care about on chain or generative, right? Like, I don't think we're going to. And so, actually, my comment back earlier today was, I think in large part, we may truly see like the quality works of art, or like the stuff that looks cool, hold an edge when it pertains to like new people coming, just because, like, I think that stuff wins anyway, right? Like, the best brands, like, of course, win for a variety of reasons, but also, like, the best artists in many cases won because they were like the best at art, and like the art looked good. Abstract, I guess, would be a completely different conversation. But I don't know. Do you have a take on that? Like, what do you think normies are gonna want? Are they just gonna come in and like look at the rarity rankings and like take it at face value? Yeah, maybe. But like, what would you say there?
Yeah, first of all, I love the term normies. I think
It's a
like we're
bad
all
term. We should
it's
probably not
awful.
use it.
We're all normies in
Yeah,
every different facet. It's like,
I
but I know
know.
what you mean. I know the sentiment. The sentiment is there are going to be people coming into the space who are discovering NFTs for the first time next year. And so what are they going to think? And if that's a far majority because they get onboarded through Coinbase, or if they get onboarded through Instagram, it's like that's going to be an entirely different population. And yeah, let's see this tweet here.
Yeah, so I found it. Sorry to cut you off, Danny, but I
No,
did
you're
find
good.
it. So this was a tweet from Gremplin that I saw earlier today, and of course, this is utilizing, I believe, the Rarity Tools Cryptodes rankings. But you can see Cryptodes by Gremplin and all the rarities for free at luckytrader.com. Search Cryptodes in the NFTs dropdown. Yeah, and so you can see here, right? Like, this is, I think, ranked 8, ranked 8, 8, 8, and then you have some like 150s, 95, right? So just purely using the metadata, which is how most rarity rankings and or sites are doing their rarities, right? Like, working with the data, objectively curating rarity rankings, which is something we're trying to spend a lot of time doing as well. Is like doing giving you the data and objectively providing it, but not telling you which one is more rare than the other. But this was Super Gremplin's take on like where the rarity lies in the heart of the creator. So you have 1, 2, 3 tied for 3, a 4, and then 5 tied for 5. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it's every artist, right, could put out their own rarity tools, and they'll make their own most rare, and maybe that will become the most rare in practicality. Who knows?
And that goes back to your Kylie Jenner comment. That's the stuff that will be most interesting.
I
Is
can't
like
wait.
who I don't know that anything happened, and we can take a look at this. I can get this up on the screen as well. I don't know that anything in this collection moved today. Like, these would be high value toads anyway, right? Because even using the objective ranking via rarity tools, these were no worse than number 150. I doubt
Right.
any of these moved, but would Kylie Jenner, like, would her note of, hey, these ones are best. Like, let's say it's a trait, not even rarity ranking, right? But like a
Yeah.
low rarity trait, because that's how, of course, all these get built is, and we do the same thing at luckytrader.com. Each individual attribute, I'm looking at the Asset Explorer now on Lucky Trader. You can get there again via the NFTs drop down. Head to Cryptodes by Gremplin. But each individual attribute or trait sort of gets its own rarity score based on how many exist or whatever the case may be, right? And so let's say, yeah, Kylie Jenner goes, hey, this particular trait, on a different one where the traits are maybe a little, because Cryptodes is a little newer. So let's go to something that's maybe people recognize a little bit more. But like if Kylie Jenner came in and said, and these are, I should use the dynamic range filters here to take a look at like the last 9,000 to 10,000. So like these are the non-rare apes, right? But if Kylie Jenner came in and said this orange
Beanies are
beanie,
cool.
right?
Orange beanies are
What is
cool.
this? Hat beanie, just beanie. Yeah, if she sets her profile picture to a beanie,
Beanies are
um,
cool now.
are they cool? Do they
I think
will
so.
I mean, I think inevitably like it'll drive stuff. Does that hold up? I don't really know. Like what did Steph buy?
That's a good
Steph
question.
I saw some people giving Steph shit cuz he was like 5 for 21 last night shooting or something. Do I not follow Steph Curry on Twitter? Is
It
that
might be
bad?
Stephen Curry.
Oh, is it Stephen Curry?
Might be.
Probably Stephen Curry. Yeah, okay, so he's got the ape. He's got blue skin and like a suit. Okay. Um Black suit, right? We got a minimum price on black suit. I might have too many things selected here. Oh, there's none in the I had the rarity filter on. Yeah, so minimum price on black suits right now 215 Ethereum.
Whew.
There's only 42 of them.
Right.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty crazy.
But I would love to see how much that has increased since he put on a black suit.
Wait, he has blue skin, right? So where is his? Did I miss it? Does that have blue skin? Blue with the black. Oh, you know what? Did he do this thing? Do you remember that whole suits on for Christie's thing?
Oh yeah. Is
I
it
don't
still
think
on?
Steph's actually has a suit. I think that
Fake news. We need the Twitter verification.
for
Fake
blue.
news here.
Like I don't think
We could just search Steph
black
Curry
suit.
8.
You can't quite do that. Yeah, I'm not getting a black suit, blue fur via the Asset Explorer.
No, I'm saying on Google we could search Steph Curry 8.
Yeah. Anyway, the blue fur minimum price 40. So this is a little less rare, right?
Mhm.
If it's just blue fur. Let me take a look at we'll go over transactions too. And we'll do the same thing. Again, this is all accessible at luckytrader.com via the Bored Ape collection. Let me go back to blue fur. See what's happened here in blue fur world. Did my collection stick? Okay, we're going. A lot of transactions to parse, people. So last sale looks like today's 10/20, right? A couple hours ago, a blue fur sold for 36 Ethereum. I don't know exactly when Steph bought it, but we could find it in here if we wanted to. I think one of the things that's coming soon, another little mini alpha leak, is the buyer name, seller name will.
Whoa.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. No, that's just really cool. Buyer and seller name.
Yeah, the ENS, the Ethereum name service. So like let's say I bought this and I own like loganhitchcock.eth, right? It would just show up as loganhitchcock.eth. So a little bit easier to distinguish who bought or who sold, and of course something that people use as a way to differentiate between individuals or wallets or whatever the case may be. So I don't know how soon that might be, but I think that's something we're definitely going to have eventually, maybe near future as well on luckytrader.com. Nevertheless, my guess is that I don't know exactly when he bought, but my guess is that when he did buy, there was probably a little bit of a premium giving to blue fur, but we could figure it out, and we could talk about it. Just not today. I'm not prepared.
Yeah, another episode potentially.
Yeah, and I should know as well. Like this was thank you for all who have thank you for all who have showed up and asked questions and are using both Lucky Trader and the Lucky Trader OpenSea extension. But this was an impromptu stream. Danny and I will be back tomorrow night, right, Danny, for Lucky Trader Lounge episode 3.
Let's get it, baby.
And in the near future, also, we're going to be looking to bring on more guests, not only from perhaps the Lucky Trader side, if there's a team and growing team here as well of really sharp individuals who you should learn and hear from, beside myself and Danny. So not only Lucky Trader side, but also looking to bring on people from the ecosystem at large. A lot of the people Danny talking to on the podcast are super notable people that people want to hear from. We'd like to get them on here as well to talk to you guys. We do have about 10 minutes left before we move into tomorrow's or leave you, I guess, until tomorrow. I do want to make a few other notes. At 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, the Know Your Horses guys will be doing their weekly stream. We're kind of a pre-ramble for them. Pre-ramble. I meant to say kind of preamble, but
It's all
pre-ramble.
good.
Pre-ramble sounds way better, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
Anyway, Lucky Trader and the Know Your Horses product is going live. Twitch stream, twitch.tv, know_your_horses. They'll be live at 8 p.m. to talk with Arbitrage Racing, one of the most successful Zed Run stables during the whole entire history of Zed Run, but especially like the tournament itself, which is taking place right now. If you guys are into Zed Run, want to learn about Zed Run, highly encourage you to check that out. Accessible again on Twitch. You can find the links and everything on Twitter as well. Anyway, yeah, so we got about 10 minutes left. I want to also get to art really quickly in this last 10 minutes, unless you have something else, Danny. Do you have anything else you want to rush into?
I just want to make sure we cover the questions here from Dan K. He's got a couple of questions. I want to make sure we get to those. And I know Ferocious is on your mind.
It's time to pump my bags, right? Yeah, let's get to. Sorry, I'm navigating screens and was not looking at questions here.
All good.
Opinions on Polygon, Flow, and ICP. So Polygon, of course, being a layer 2 solution. Flow being the Dapper Labs blockchain. That's what Top Shot and then NFL Dapper. And then a whole host of other projects have now started to launch on Flow, like Ben Morrow's Evolution, I believe, is one, and some others. ICP, I think, is the Internet something protocol. It's like a coin that's kind of like named after the internet. I don't really know a whole lot about that one in particular, so I'm going to avoid really chatting about it. I thought I knew the name, but I guess I don't. I'm going to try to find it also here off to the side. Thoughts on them? Of course, nothing here is, right, like we've mentioned, nothing here, financial advice. I do think, though, like Flow as an ecosystem is being built on pretty heavily. When we saw the demand, we've seen the increase in efficiencies and usage of like things like NBA Top Shot. And I think we've seen, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, like where you have the conversation about the crypto native attributes as it pertains to these different things. So like on-chain, generative, right? Like not mattering to a lot of people. Flow is sort of centralized, right? It's a blockchain that's maintained by Dapper Labs. Are people going to care enough about that if like the applications on top of the blockchain are reasonable? Like Top Shot, like nobody really cares at this point now that withdrawals are, like squared away. So yeah, I think Flow, like, again, I'm not necessarily, the US just got unlocked to buy Flow. I know nothing about the coin price history or anything like that. No financial advice as it pertains to that. But as far as like the ecosystem goes, I think it's hard not to be like kind of excited about Top Shot. And then also the NFL Dapper is going to bring in so many freaking people.
Yep. It's going to be crazy.
How many of your friends right now, Danny, that don't buy NFTs would buy like a Patrick Mahomes thing that like might make them money, like might get them exclusive utility and benefits as it pertains to the NFL? Like they would, right? And I'm sure all of us can think of, when that news came out, I have lots of friends that, tolerate my tweets, but have no clue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And,
said, Loki.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so like, I sent them that though, and was like, you might participate in this. And they were like, oh, okay. Like eyes open, like, we'll think about this. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's hard not to be kind of excited about the potential ecosystem built out on Flow. Again, no financial advice, no particular thoughts on one project or another. I own Top Shot, still actively participate on Top Shot. I will be buying the Dapper NFL drop, of course. La Liga next year. I'm not a soccer guy, but I'll probably buy it anyway. I might need to learn some soccer. Do you know soccer, Danny?
No, I don't know football. European football.
Football, yes.
Football. Nothing. All I know is FIFA. I played for a solid 4 years in college. That's about it.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that. I'm not a gamer at all. The most up to date I am on football is Ted Lasso and AFC Richmond. I know a lot about AFC Richmond, man. I know. Yes, you should definitely watch that. That is advice. Watch Ted Lasso. If you come away from anything here, watch Ted Lasso. You don't even need to use the extension or visit luckytrader.com so long as you watch Ted Lasso.
Okay.
No, seriously, download the extension and use it and go to luckytrader.com. Those are prerequisites for watching Ted Lasso. Yeah, thank you, Dan, for asking that question. I saw a question as well about some wallet usage. Realistically, at present time, anything that you should be able to use effectively with OpenSea, I believe will work for the mass bidding and listing, though I would need to get clarification from the devs on that. So apologize for not answering that to the best of my ability as of right now. The rarity rankings, though, again, they require nothing. They're going to be pulled in directly from luckytrader.com. So at the very least, even if you don't even have a wallet, right? If you don't have a wallet, you could download the Lucky Trader extension and still use that on OpenSea, I believe. Somebody can smack me if I'm totally wrong on that. But anyway, we have about 5 minutes left. I want to get to art. And we can go a few minutes over, but I don't want to steal from Ryan and the Know Your Horses guys too much. Art. We chatted a little bit about this last week. I was tweeting a little bit about I freaking love Ferocious, and I am going to pump my bags. Disclaimer: I own a few pieces of Ferocious's work. He is the he reminds me a lot of you, Danny, because like I think of you as like a super optimistic, like very high energy. Like I get excited talking to people like that, and it just makes me feel better and like makes me more excited about the things we're doing. So I appreciate that and appreciate you being on the show and being a part of Lucky Trader and being a friend at this point. But Ferocious, freaking awesome. Like the person, just incredible person. I'm dying to get Ferocious on a Lucky Trader pod or something. We need to. And I already like I put it in your contract that you need to include me if you have Ferocious on the pod.
100%.
Yeah.
You got it.
Anyway, I actually just want to ask you a question. I just want to ask about art. We were talking about rarities.
Whoa.
We were talking about what looks good, what doesn't, right? We're talking about like what normies would buy, right? Where do you think art fits? Like where do you hold art? Not like literally what do you hold, but like in regards to or comparing, relatively speaking, to profile picture projects and beyond, right? They're all art in some way or another, but like the more traditional digital art, like where do you put it in like the hierarchy of NFTs? And is it something you're looking at portfolio? Do you think individual artists are, and again, you don't need to compare any, but like, do you think individual artists are I don't know what I'm trying to say. Are they like the backbone? Are they like safe havens in a downturn? Like what do you think here?
Individual artists are going to become
God, I love this piece.
rappers and musicians, the equivalent of rappers and musicians in the public eye. If I asked you today to name like your favorite artist, like drawing or illustration, right? Like, but pre NFTs, that would have been a very difficult question for people to answer. So now artists, in my opinion, are going to become the modern day musicians and rappers and entertainers, and they're going to be in that conversation. And I don't know if it's a safe haven in a downturn, but I know that they're going to be culturally way, way, way more relevant and put on a pedestal, is what I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And this goes back to a conversation we've spent a little bit of time talking about before, which is like the ability for NFTs to now financialize IP and brand. Previously, whether it was fair or not, right, with music royalties and stuff, at least rappers and artists had ways to monetize, had ways to get their IP out there. Traditionally, art has been reserved for high net worth individuals.
Exactly.
Right. And
this
so
democratizes it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're 100% right. Like, I mean, previously, like the top artists, the top artists were still known. Right. But they weren't collected by you and me. And at this point in time, that's not to say like Ferocious is out of the price range for so many people. Which is I don't know whether to say unfortunate or not as a collector. But nevertheless, like I think it's cool that people like you and me could realistically, one, I was a little early, so I was fortunate there. But like people like you and me could hold, in my eyes, Ferocious is someone who, as it pertains to the NFT movement, is like history book for sure. Like,
definitely
wouldn't matter if he produced another piece ever again. Like Hall of, there's, I don't know if there's an art Hall of Fame. I'm sure there's something like it, right? But like Hall of Famer, like first ballot
I
Hall of
agree.
Famer for
I
sure.
agree.
So yeah, I'm really interested in art. Like I want to collect a little bit more art. I think the art thing too, you can sort of do this with collectible projects, but like I think the art thing too is a little more fun and it is akin to kind of like the rookie card collecting. You know what I mean? So like I was sort of doing that in February when I fell in love with like Fuosh. Like I love the pop surrealism. You see that warm color palette right there? I'm moving on.
I was just gonna say, literally
That's the shit that makes me super excited. Like if you have art like that and you want to shill it in the chat or via Lucky Trader or DMs or whatever, I will definitely take a look with
moving on is
great
so
intrigue.
sick. Do
It's
you
the
have
best.
one?
No, I don't. I'm so mad about it, Danny. I looked at it like all year long at around 1 or 2 ETH, and I just
Oh,
like I didn't buy it. I do have disclaimer. I do own a Don't You See I'm Hurting. That's in cold storage and will not move ever, probably. Um,
wow.
this is like one of those ones where, like, I guess if you were, you saw the stuff with a Rich Erd from Manifold.xyz, who got offered 25,000, sorry, 2,500,
2,500 ETH.
yeah, Ethereum,
Yeah.
and turned it down. If you offer me 2,500 Ethereum for Don't You See I'm Hurting, I will accept it. One, because it's like a stupid amount of money, and two, just because I could accept it and then still buy more ferocious. You know what I mean? If I had 2,500 Ethereum right now to deploy, I would buy one of every ferocious piece, at least one of every ferocious piece. Like moving on is just disgustingly good, and this is just one collection. We'll wrap up here in just these next few minutes, but there are also like, you can take a look at, this was a nifty drop that Ferocious did with some others, Paratism and Jonathan Wolf. And so like I own a Victor and Victoria as well. I like that one a lot.
Those are more affordable though for the
Yeah,
average.
it's a little bit bigger collection. I think there's 777 or 772. I actually bought this on the drop at Nifty Gateway earlier this year. I I pulled over my car in a parking lot to get
Wow.
this drop earlier this year. I love this. Like this art, this to me is just like,
Very cool.
it's freaking awesome. And I know a lot of people think it's super silly and whatever. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, that's just like the stuff I like. Yeah, so I'm excited for kind of like some NFT art aggregators. Like right now, OpenSea doesn't do a great job of. So like if you search Ferocious, right? There's like four different verified collections, 3 verified. This is also FUO though. This was a Nifty Gateway drop. There's 4 collections here. At some point in time, make it easier for everybody and just put it all under Ferocious. You know what I mean?
Right.
So aggregators will come and help make it better, and hopefully that also too,
Coinbase
like,
maybe.
yeah, we'll see what they do. It'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm glad to get your take on art. I think I want to start collecting more of it. I like betting on people in that way, kind of like the rookie thing. I own some, disclaimer, I own an ODS piece. This is the artist behind Meta Hero, pretty famous for the Meta Hero stuff and Pixel Vault work, but this is a piece from ODS. Great work here. I own one of his Bitski drops from earlier this year. And I own actually one from Paratism too. And I think I own a Jonathan Wolf. I think I own one of each of these. And like to me, this is fun because all 4 of the artists in this particular collection that dropped on Nifty, like they're all friends, which is kind of why they all dropped together. But also they're all young, like people at the forefront of NFTs and like NFT art. Rookies. Yeah. And I mean, Ferocious at present time has become like the biggest name of them. Like Ferocious is
and he hasn't even started. And he hasn't even started.
Ferocious is a giant. I get, it's like funny. We'll spend a couple more minutes and then we'll hop off and let people get to the Know Your Horses stream. What's really, really funny is Jesus, what was I thinking about? Is God, man. I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say.
Rookies haven't even started.
I know. I don't know. I lost it. I completely lost it. So
stream number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, the broadcast went pretty smooth this time.
I think so.
I don't think I botched any. Well, I kept messing up the examples, but I didn't botch like any screen sharing settings. I'm really excited, Danny, as we get to do this more frequently. We get to bring in more people, like not only frontward facing, but also like more people are going to be joining Lucky Traders. You won't necessarily have to listen to me, and you'll have more creative ideas and stuff. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited to do this more regularly, hopefully build an audience. I know right now we don't have a ton of people tuning in, but in the near future, hopefully that will be the case. But we do appreciate your feedback and those who have taken the time to stop in and listen to us. in these last few minutes, since I forgot my main point, I do want to plug just the Lucky Trader plugin one more time. Again, that's kind of the reason for this impromptu Lucky Trader Lounge tonight. Again, the Lucky Trader extension is accessible in the Chrome store. If you go to the Chrome web store, you can access it there. Add it to your browser just like you would any other collection. It's now accessible here in the top right corner, like right next to my MetaMask, right? And it's going to let you see rarities right on the page. It's going to let you bid on stuff, mass bid on things that are available at buy now prices. And you're also going to be able to mass list NFTs. We walked through an example of that just a few minutes ago. So please do download that. Add your ratings and reviews for us, please. We would greatly appreciate it. And then last but not least, Lucky Trader podcast tomorrow with JJ Lane. Download that in all the places that you listen to podcasts. Listen to Danny have great conversations with notable voices from the NFT ecosystem, as well as Lucky Trader Lounge episode 3 tomorrow night. One more time, right before Thursday Night Football. We'll go from 7 to 8 or a little after 8. And we'll just talk NFTs. We don't have any particular agenda slated for tomorrow at present time. But if there are things you guys would like us to chat about, we'll probably be showing off Lucky Trader, talking about random stuff, pumping ferocious bags. We should also start to maybe chat a little bit about NFT NYC and some of the things that are going to happen there.
Are we going to record one live?
We could record one live. Dude, do you see this mic? This boom stand is really portable. It's not too heavy.
I have an extra mic, believe it or not.
Yeah. I'm a nomad, so I have no home, so I'll be bringing my mic with me.
Wherever I go.
Yeah. So I will be in New York. Danny is in New York. We will be at NFT NYC in some capacity. I actually won't be at the event, but we'll be working and around and hopeful to meet many, many folks in the NFT ecosystem. And whether you be an artist or a project or a potential contributor or whatever the case may be, please do reach out. Happy to meet people, grab coffee, whatever the case is. We're really excited about NFTs, excited about the direction of Lucky Trader, excited to continue to come into your living rooms or offices tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Anything else, Danny, before we sign off?
No, it's been a pleasure. It's been so great doing this, and I'm excited to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, likewise. So thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Catch you again tomorrow, both at YouTube and our YouTube channel, Lucky Trader NFT, as well as the Twitter, Lucky Trader HQ. You can find this stream, view it. Please participate there. And look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. Take care.